Hey guys, this is Jason, and today I am reviewing Disenchanted, directed by Shankman, and it is a sequel to Enchanted from 2007. It stars mostly the cast from the first film, like Amy Adams, Patrick Dempsey, James Marsden, and Idena Menzel. And it is about Giselle living in a new neighborhood called Monroeville with her husband, played by Patrick Dempsey, and their two children that she lives with now, and she's not very fond of this new neighborhood when they first move in. My Rudolph plays a character that sort of owns the town, and she's kind of the queen bee of this film and happily invites Giselle and her family to this new neighborhood. But when things aren't going in Giselle's way, she decides to make a wish after getting this wand that James Marsden and Idena Menzel gave her, and when she makes that wish, things around the real world and Andalasia start going downhill for her, and that wish ends up slowly turning her into an evil stepmother. Enchanted is one of those films I used to love as a kid, and as an adult, I do think it's a good movie, but I don't love it as much as everyone else. I mean, it has some stuff to like the acting is strong. I do like Amy Adams in the film quite a bit, and I do like James Marsden as well. And there are some really good songs that can admittedly get stuck in my head. But for me, it's not one of my favorite Disney films. For me, it's not on par with like The Lion King or Beauty and the Beast, but I still like it. It has some issues for me, like it's a little bit too long and the whole true love's kiss can overstay its welcome. But I do recommend watching Enchanted. It's still a fun watch for families and kids to enjoy. And of course, it's got some nods to other classic Disney films like Snow White, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty, The Little Mermaid, those kind of films that Disney fans can look at and go, oh yeah, I remember that from that film. And when they announced that they were going to make a sequel to Enchanted, I wasn't all that thrilled because most of these sequels Disney makes don't always end up being as good as their originals. They just end up being terrible with some exceptions. And this is another one of those cases where it's not as good as the original, which is still a challenge for most of these Disney sequels to do. Now, before we get down to the issues, let me talk about the stuff that I liked first. Amy Adams is excellent in this film as Giselle. She brings the heart and energy to her character, and she does a really good job showing her dark side as well. There are some good songs in the film that did admittedly get stuck in my head. There are some nice little callbacks to other Disney films, just like the first film did, although this film makes it a little more on the nose in a few scenes. That being said, it still doesn't change the fact that this is a very mediocre movie with a predictable story where you get to predict every little detail is gonna go and how it's gonna turn out, and it can be very unpleasant with the characters going through the I hate the new house and a new neighborhood type of story, which is something we've seen a lot in other family films. And I get what they were trying to do. They want to show what Giselle's life was like after she got her happily ever after. I get that. But it still doesn't change that this was lazily written and you can easily figure out everything that's going to happen and there are no surprises. One of the things that really bothered me was the CGI. This movie has a lot of CGI characters that appear that can look very unpleasant and unnatural every time they come on screen. They can at times look like they came out of the live-action Beauty and the Beast remake. Patrick Dempsey's character really didn't work for me. They were trying to do an attempt to try to have him be like James Marsden in the first film. And if you remember in the first film, James Marsden played this very gallivant prince that was full of himself and was too stupid to see what was really going on around him when he comes to New York City. And Patrick Dempsey really didn't have any of the energy and charisma that Marsden had in the first film, and Marsden isn't really in the movie that much. He only has like 2 or 3 scenes. There's also a lot of exposition in this film that really didn't need to overstay its welcome, and I get that sometimes you would need exposition to get the audience to understand what's going on, but the reason it doesn't work here is because they use a lot of it, and I really would have liked it if they didn't use too much of that whenever they bring in like the CGI scroll that's supposed to explain everything about this wish that Giselle made. Disenchanted has some good acting and a couple of good characters like Amy Adams as Giselle, some good songs, and a pretty good score, but the story and most of the characters just weren't all that interesting, and the CGI was pretty bad, and there was too much exposition that just didn't really need it to be there. If you're a fan of the first Enchanted film, you might end up getting disappointed with this one because it has a lot of issues that I just mentioned, and it's just another one of those cases where Disney decided to make a sequel to one of their successful films just as a cash grab. I'm gonna give Disenchanted a C. So guys, if you have seen Disenchanted, what did you think about it? Did you think it was as good as Enchanted, or were you disappointed and thought it was one of the worst movies you've seen in your life? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this review, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing, because it helps my channel grow. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.